You and I have both agreed in some of our conversations together that the game has changed in the last 2.5 years. There are things that we may not have considered when we were trying to pick elders, when we were looking at ordination, when we were thinking about church unity and potential splits and division and all those kinds of things. It seems like, at least for me, and I know for you also, I'm looking for some things that I wasn't necessarily looking for 3 years ago when I'm thinking about eldership and those kinds of things. So what are some of your thoughts? Help us get started.
Sure. So when we think about masculine leadership in the home, in the church, in society, you can kind of look at it through a triad of authority, responsibility, and ability. Okay. So authority is just the ability to exercise a God-given command, right? God's told a guy, this is your job to lead your household. Pastor, it's your job to preach and administer the sacraments. A magistrate, here's how you punish evildoers and praise the good, whatever. So you actually have the authority to do that. It's within your realm. And then responsibility means you have to do it. So you have these responsibilities. So we always want to keep authority and responsibility at parity. So we've kind of, me and my co-author of It's Good to Be a Man, we've criticized servant leadership because a lot of times what we say is it gives men heavy responsibilities without authority, right? Authority without responsibility leads to tyranny. Responsibility without authority leads to slavery, right? But that's kind of like, those are important categories to have, but we've added a third one, which is ability. And you can just think of it as leadership, but it's the actual ability to execute your responsibilities, right? To get it done.
Right.
And so I think a lot of us have rethought through authority and responsibilities. Thankfully, we have confessions. We have all sorts of awesome church documents like Year 1689. I'm a Westminster guy. We're very close on what the responsibilities of pastors, elders, and deacons are. I think leadership, though, the ability question is what we've had to reevaluate. A lot of these guys that were in the pastorate during the last couple of years with Black Lives Matter, the George Floyd nonsense, all the COVID shutdowns, the pandemic, a lot of these guys their ability was for existing systems. For systems, they're really a managerial class. And what managers, they're very important people in any organization. What they do is manage a system that already exists. Mm-hmm. They didn't build it. They just execute. They administrate it more than anything. They oversee it. Those guys play a very key role when there's a time of stability in a company. A company grows, and then you add kind of this middle management role. Well, a lot of our pastors had a sort of middle management approach to ministry and whatever. And they're like super easy going. They want to keep conflict at a low. They deal with everything kind of through PR tactics. And then suddenly it all kind of blows up. And people that they never thought would challenge them are challenging them. People that have been in their churches for years, that's run the sound ministry, the children's ministry, founding members are saying, what's going on? Why are we closing down worship? Why are we enforcing masks on healthy people? Why are we repenting of racism? We're not racist. Why are we apologizing for being white? Like white's a secondary biological marker. It's not a sin. Okay.
Right.
So they're asking these questions, and these managers they're only good when things are stable. Things are suddenly unstable, and they kind of freak out. And a lot of them became tyrants overnight, because they weren't really prepared for it. And they're not good at moving on their feet. They're not good at dealing with crisis. They really they can say, when their authorities question, they say, hey, this is how things are done around here or whatever. And they can kind of cite the system. Well, now the whole system's broken. You've been telling people how important it is to attend church your entire ministry.
That's right.
And now you're telling them not to come to church. And people are saying, wait a sec, I thought we took membership vows. Part of it is to prioritize the importance of the church. And now you're telling us not to come, and we want to worship God. And, on whose authority do you do this? Well, the government told us we can't. Well, what's the government? We don't declare war. The government doesn't tell us that we can't worship.
Right.
Well, Romans 13, like, what? Come again? And so this got nuts. That's been the last couple of years where, and also there's guys who are faithful men, but they got canceled. They got canceled hard, right? Their reputation got dragged through the mud. It hurt their marriage. It hurt their kids. They lost their jobs. They got fired, and they spent their entire life being kind of seminary trained, and now they're without churches, and people call them authoritarian or rebellious or whatever, and they're trying to figure out what to do. So we're in this kind of new realm where managerial class of pastors they're not going to work,
right?
And for a while at least. And we got guys that are good, bold risk takers, but they're risk taking in still a more stable time. Where now, if you take that risk, you might lose it all. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's requiring us to think through the pastoral ministry, like how our candidates, multiple streams of income, anti-fragility. How do we stay bold but not wreck our household? This is the new world for us. It's an awesome world because now it makes us rethink things. We don't just we're allowed to question these things and come back at it again and say, okay, what's the wise application of these biblical principles?
Houston, we have a problem. I repeat, we have a problem. Our conference is about to sell out. I mean, about to sell out. We probably have about 75 to 100 seats left. Our venue holds about 525 to 550 seats, and we currently have 450 people who are registered for this conference. The excitement is tangible. A lot of people registered because they wanted to hit the early bird rate. We're now at our normal rate, $130 for an adult, $50 for a kid who's 11 to 17 years old, and kids 10 and under get in free. You can bring the whole family, but the problem is not that we're going to raise the rate again. The problem is we're going to run out of tickets, and we're going to run out pretty fast. Again, we've got about 100 seats or less. 450 people 6 months out are already registered for this conference. We don't want you to miss it. So to ensure that you get to make it to this conference, you need to register not a month from now, not a week from now, not tomorrow, but today. You want to be there for the Theonomy and Postmillennialism Conference, May 5th, 6th, and 7th, with James White, Joe Boot, Gary DeMar, Dale Partridge, and yours truly, Joel Webbon. Go to rightresponseconference.com. Again, that's rightresponseconference.com. It will sell out very soon.